Hello, friends. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about wearables. And I've been on this crusade recently of raw dogging life, or even starting a community around people who want to raw dog life, do life more intentionally, less distractions, less digital stimulation, more real conversations, more just being out in the world, being real in the world. And, one of the things that I've been thinking a lot about is how to really reduce my screen time and sort of my information input. As much as I love research and data, and I was an Apple Watch guy and then a Whoop guy, I really wanted to figure out what would happen if I just got a little bit more intentional about my approach to things like diet and exercise and sleep without needing all these metrics and all these numbers, right? And as soon as I started to do that, I came across this study where actually a lot of the wearables have about a 40% sort of wiggle room or miss rate where they're really not accurate. And that kind of sent me down another rabbit hole of looking into who's even reporting on this data. And then I looked at, some of the people who are podcasting or, presenting data, and even the top ones like Andrew Huberman, he's only about 80%, right, of what he's actually saying is verified and true. And so, all this data, all this input, right, it's giving us sleep scores and HRV and, all this different stuff. But don't we know when we're tired? Don't we know, when we have energy to exercise? And then, if we don't really have a clear goal, and if we don't really have a clear intention, then what does it all matter? And I noticed this in myself. I had all this data in the world, and I wasn't in as good a shape as I wanted to be. I was being lax about when I was going to sleep, when I was waking up. I was just kind of going with the flow. I tried calorie counters and other things to get my diet really dialed in, but ultimately, I realized I just needed a little bit more clarity and a little bit more discipline, and I didn't need this constant input of data. And since I kind of switched over, I took my whoop off a couple months ago. In about 60 days, I've lost almost 20 pounds. I'm like on a consistent sleep and rise schedule. I've been meditating 2, 3 times a day. I'm actually doing that all without like alarm clocks and without apps. And so, yeah, this like, again, idea of kind of raw dogging life, but having a really clear vision of who you want to create, what you want to create, and then sticking to that rather than having this, again, constant sort of input loop, has been really invaluable. So I know some people love their, data and their watches. And if you're that person, I'd love to hear in the comments why and how it works for you. But if you're feeling like maybe we're in an information overload and you're feeling like maybe you're wanting to be a little bit more intuitive and learning how to really listen to your body and use things like meditation to create a plan for yourself and how to live, comment that to me because our community is starting up real soon. And if that's you, I'd love to have you there.